We have a new scam hitting the hobby. It relates to PWCC and was brought to my attention through Rick Probstein and also Fanatics. It's quite an interesting one because this scam could be coming to a local store or card show near you, and is something that you guys need to be, aware of pretty quick smart, because this one could cause some damage. Now, it does relate to PWCC, as I mentioned in that opening, and does in fact relate to their eye appeal stickers. Now, what was brought to the attention, I'll get to these eye appeal stickers in a second, is that apparently they're being faked, and being faked to a standard that people can't actually spot that the stickers themselves are fake. Now, Rick Probstein does a newsletter. This was incorporated in that newsletter. A friend of mine sent that to me, and that's how I obviously became aware. But at the time of recording, if you go to Probstein's About page, you will see the video in question. Play it for yourself. I won't play it now. But what Rick talks to is the fact that these stickers are fake. Now, what is pretty interesting is that he came out and said that Fanatics, alerted them to the fact they were fake. And I assume, Fanatics has, done this for a number of people, including, card shows and other, large consigners, to say, guess what, we've got some fake cards out there. We've become aware. Please keep an eye out. And it is one that is quite concerning. Now, obviously, we need to take this on face value. Maybe Fanatics is just doing this for good faith. Who knows? But let's just assume that this story is genuine and these stickers are actually being faked. And the reason why this is a little bit concerning is because these stickers are essentially used by PWCC to create more buzz within the hobby. I see it as a bit of a gimmick. I've never really liked it, but I think it's one that could cause some damage. And I'll get to my thoughts on that in a second. But if you're not sure what these stickers are, they're basically eye appeal rating. And as it does say over there, PWCC basically implemented this to try and, identify cards that are typically better than the average. Because what they'll do in instances like this is look at, this, Hank Aaron, I believe, who it is. I'm not a baseball guy, so I do apologize. Cards from PSA, I should say, they're all in a 5 condition. You can sort of see the X5, blah, blah, blah. Obviously, not all 5s are equal, and cards grade for different reasons. So what these stickers are sort of there to do is find the best of the bunch. And what they'll do in cases like this is, if the card in question is in the top 30% of those cards they've ever seen in that grade, they'll give it this sticker. The same thing from a top 15% perspective, and then the same thing from a 5% perspective. So as you can see from an eye appeal, element, this card clearly over here is a lot nicer looking than this one. And what PWCC basically says is that through the use of these stickers and creating more, transparency for the hobby, these cards that get these ratings typically sell for higher prices. So you can sort of see over here, the cards that have an A, eye appeal typically sell for 15% more than the market average. The E's 30% more, and then the S 50% more. Now, I think this is a bit of a gimmick because typically you see these cards sell well based on eye appeal alone, and I'm not sure how correlated these increases in prices are. Like, are we sort of seeing these stickers directly contribute to the fact this is selling 15% more, or did this one sell for 15% more because the general collector, the general hobbyist can see that this card is typically better than the 5s on average, i.e. it looks like it's better than a 5. That's sort of the position PWCC takes. So the fact you've got, people now faking these stickers, and to the point where, Rick, I don't think he says this in the video, but clearly wouldn't have known that they were fake, and maybe thought it was superficial, the fact that this sticker was still on the slab. Maybe they wouldn't have talked about it in their auction, but he clearly wouldn't have spotted it unless Fanatics told him, like he sort of said they did. So, that should be concerning, because obviously they're being faked to a high standard. And the messaging he gives in this video, and is going to be the same messaging I give you guys, if you're sort of seeing these things out in the public, don't factor that into the price point. It's not worth the risk. Like, we don't know how pervasive these things are. We don't know how many stickers have gone out there. We don't know how many are actually being faked. But to best protect yourself is probably not worth the risk in the first place, right? Because you're not buying directly from PWCC, so you can't get comfort that these things are genuine. Don't factor that in when you're buying the card. Don't pay that premium just because it has this sticker on there, because you can't know for sure that the card was fake or not. Now, one thing, or the sticker was fake, I should say, and probably if they're faking the sticker, they're probably faking the card or the slab in some capacity as well. Now, the one thing Rick does also say in this video is the fact that PWCC have a database where you can look up the certification that's assigned to these stickers. That was news to me. I've not seen that before. I've not bought a card that's had one of these on there, so I can't confirm. I tried searching around. I couldn't find a database or a serial number for these things. Maybe that is out there and I'm just wrong and couldn't find it, but he says there is a database, so maybe factor that into your decision making as well. But, from my perspective, you've seen people fake serial numbers before. So it's not going to be that hard to fake a number from a genuine sticker to trick somebody into buying your shitty card, right? So my position would be, who cares if the serial number works, if there is a database or there isn't a database. If you're not buying this from PWCC, don't even factor this into the price point. It's not even worth the risk. And if you're somebody that owns some of these that you've bought in the past, I would contact, PWCC and Fanatics and try and see if you can get some understanding as to whether or not yours was faked as well. Because that's the concerning piece, right? You've got Fanatics obviously reaching a point where they're going to notify Rick Probstein, a competitor, that these things are out there. So the fact that that's been made to their attention implies to me that there's maybe a lot more out there than what one would expect. So please be careful when you're going to shows and card stores and you're sort of seeing these things on there. Don't factor it in to the price point. So let me know if you guys were aware of this. Like, the fact that Rick wasn't makes me a little bit concerned, because it tells me it's quite new. And typically what happens with these things is that the people scamming the system do it in really high volumes, and by the time it becomes public knowledge, like most things, it's too little too late. It's probably already infiltrated the market. It's already pervasive, like what we basically saw with that fake soccer card syndicate, where you had these stickers be, faked, and then before we knew it, they were all in PSA slabs, BGS slabs, SGC slabs, amongst many more, and you're talking millions and millions of dollars of fake cards in these slabs, and people are basically being scammed and burned as a result. So the same thing is likely happening here, in my humble opinion. But that's sort of it, what I wanted to cover today. Just a quick one. Another one that you guys need to be keeping front of mind. People talk all the time that my channel is, negative, and I'm only here about the negative content. But, something like this is negative content. But from my perspective, I want to keep you guys aware so you're not getting burned, because cards are expensive, especially the kind of cards that are going to have these eye appeal stickers on there, right? Because typically you're not going to have, PWCC go out of the way to have that done on a $10 card, right? It's going to be a card that ends up in somebody's PC, something they truly value. And I'm most concerned about, all collectors, but the average Joe collector that's, saved up their money and invested, into one specific card because it means something to them. So they've gone ahead and done that, and they've bought it at a show, and they've gone, great, it's got a PWCC eye appeal on there. Yeah, I don't really factor it in too much, but I'm going to pay a little bit more to get it because that's cool. That means I'm getting an even cooler card than what I first thought. And then next minute, guess what? It was a fake sticker, mate. And then next minute, guess what? The card is probably fake too. So, let me know your thoughts down below. That's basically what I'm here to do. Try and keep you guys informed and updated. Thanks to my mate for sharing that with me. Most of my stuff does come from the community. So if there's ever anything you want me to talk to, please email me. It's in the description below. I'm going to be away for the next 5 or 6 days. It's a long weekend, Easter weekend here in Australia. So I'm going up the coast, going to do some fishing and all that kind of stuff. You will see a video on Sunday relating to card cleaning that I'm going to talk to in a fair bit of detail. I'm going to push that back. It was meant to come out at the timing of this video, but if anything pops off in the next few days, the reason why I just told you all that sort of stuff is that there'll be a delay in me, reporting on the breaking news stuff because I'm going to be away. So that's sort of it. Thanks, guys, as always, and I will see you in the next one. Cheers.